Okay, folks, this is the bass notes, breaths, and words video session for those people who can't make this, attend this session. We are going to have, as an overall platform, we will play the bass track all the way through mostly, unless there are questions where we end up playing the other track. But we'll be playing the bass track first and singing it through, and on the screen we'll have the annotated score so you can see where we are. We advise you to have your annotated score printed out and to hand in case that works better for you. And thank you very much, Susan. In case that works better for you, and or if you need to make additional annotations to the score, that is almost guaranteed. That means you'll need to have your pen, paper to hand. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put the score up and play the track, and we'll be playing the bass track all the way through. So here we go. So here we're looking at the bass annotated track, and we're going to start playing the bass track. Please mute yourselves and sing along with the track.
If you can hear that. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's not the end, it's not the end, my friend. Everything has happened for a reason. Let's not pretend it's not been hard. Feeling oh so close while being far apart. And is a life that I thought I'd lead. Silent on the empty streets, but then a message rings out so true. I am not alone, I'm right here with you. So here I stand, it's not the end, I see the light. With you, my friend, we've come so far, let's see it through. I'm not alone, that much is true. One day we'll stand side by side. Oh, how our hearts will fill with pride when all around dark and blue. I found my star, you found one too. And so we know that things must change. We know that life must rearrange. But all we've seen and all we've done will shape the world. For years to come. So here I stand, it's not the end, I see the light with you, my friend. We've come so far, let's see it through. I'm not alone, that much is true. One day we'll stand side by side. Oh, how our hearts will fill with pride when all around was dark and blue. I found my star. You found one too. It's not the end. With you, my friend, never the end.
please unmute yourselves. Now, before we go any further there, I think it's an awesome song. Before we go any further there, do you have any questions about the score or being able to see anything, any issues with it as it went along? Anything that's not clear? Yes, Susan.
If anyone is running out of breath during the first doo-doos, what do you recommend? Where do you recommend breathing?
That's excellent. We'll be starting with that immediately when we go back to the score. Thank you, Susan. I'm suggesting that somewhere close to the middle. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm suggesting the beginning and the middle, near the beginning and near the middle, because we want everybody to be strong at the end of the phrase. Okay. So let's just have a quick look at what that is doing score-wise again. So, as a point of order, of course, the vertical red lines are all the breath marks, which incidentally are directly interpreted from Simon's recording on the bass track. So, at the moment, these are not optional breaths. We like you to take these breaths, even though some of them are short, or you might think they're short, in the same way as we are going to try to do what we can with the long parts as well. So that, for now, that's what we're doing in stone, is Simon's breaths. So it's quite a long part, that at the pace we're doing it as well. So, you know, some people are going to struggle there. So do 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 do. See, there's a good place there for a breath, because we're now into the second stage of the piece of laying out the music. Okay, so we're looking, probably that was probably the fifth one, maybe, or so that's a good place. But of course we can't have everybody taking a breath there or else we'll have a massive gap, won't we? So of course there are other options. Do 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 do. We got all day there. We go all there. So, you know, my suggestion would be take the third breath, leaving you plenty of room for the rest. Or if you're a half and half person, take the fifth do, and still be finishing strong at the end there. Now, in each one of those, there are no hard Ds. There is no do, do, do. What we do like, though, is the first one to be a recognizable sound. So the best thing is to actually put a little bit of a duh in the first one. The rest of them are all tongue flicks. Do, 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 do. So they're all tongue flicks. Nice and gentle, nice and easy, finishing strong. Now the next thing, apart from that, is we've got this. Oh yes, Mike, please say.
Yeah, there's a potential trap in at the end of that phrase where you might be tempted to sing do do, but there's no do on that last note. It's an ooh do, but you could be tempted to think that there's another do coming there on bar 5.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Excellent observation. Excellent observation. Do.
10-beat do.
Good point, that. And also, we are not sliding heavily, practically at all, in addressing the note that's going from what is the D to the G in those last two notes there, right? So that thing is just going do. It's that seamless. Okay. Now, of course, the very next note is it's not the end. Now, that might sound really easy, but actually, that's really quite hard. You know, we're going from a quite a low G, which is a G2, to a D4 there. So that D4 is it's not, and a very good exercise to be doing there if you're not going to try and bubble it, because actually even bubbling that is really hard, is just to gliss the sounds. Ooh, it's not the end. So a gliss really will help, and do you just alternate your glisses, da dee, until you find the note where you're supposed to be at. Okay, so I would strongly recommend the glisses at this point. And failing the glisses, you're going to sing something like this instead. Not the end, my friend. There is no need to sing it's, if you haven't got it, if you haven't got it, just don't do it. Ninja it. Not the end, my friend. And if you still haven't got the D, and my friend, and my friend. And then make sure that you're mouthing the words of, keep mouthing it. The end, my friend. That's what we suggest. So, if there are no other questions, we'll move on from there. And the reason we took this long over this part, because actually, this is the most significant start that we have. We have a ninja requirement for most people. We have a tone issue, so that it has to be clean and no hard edges to it. And then from nowhere, you've got to find, it's not the end, from nowhere. So these things are what we needed to address. Okay, so going through this, the next few things that really hit the arrangement are 5, I think, on this page, 4 or 5 on this page, and 3 or 4 on the other page, on page 2. Octave leaps that we've got. Everything has happened. That is not right. It's probably too low. It's not the end, my friend. Everything has happened for a reason. Let's not pretend it's not been hard. Feeling oh so close while being far apart. So, just let the weight come right off. Don't fight anything. Don't try and go, because you're not going to make it. Right? So that needs to be really light. Really, really light. Feeling oh so close while being far apart. And is a life that I thought I'd lead. There's another one coming now. All is silent on the empty streets. Empty streets. Nice and light. Doesn't require anything else. But then a message rings out so true. I am not alone. Yes, Susan, please carry on.
I think it's also important for us basses to be aware that when we do those octave jumps, we're not scooping that top note from underneath. We're hitting that top note on the top of the note.
Understood. That's a great point. That's a very good point. Are there any other comments to add at this point as we go? Yes, Fred.
I was going to say, I know from my sessions that we have some people who are finding the lower notes a bit harder to sing, and are really always being that all is silent. There's quite a lot of low F there. Did you have a recommendation as to what someone could do if they were finding those phrases quite low?
For me, what helps me to not dump the sound, because I certainly, Fred, want to sing all is, because I'm like, hey, this is us, man. Nightmare. I like to approach it as if I'm singing the lead part. And if you're singing the lead part, you can't be dumping there. So in the same way as we sing light at the high end, when we've got the all is silent, actually we want to stay up on that note all the time and never think of it as a low note. All is is silent on the empty streets. And so everything is in the same tessitura practically, you know. So you can't hear that there's a stress going up and a stress going down. What about yourself, Fred? Seeing as you've heard this, what have you been recommending to folks?
I've been saying a very similar thing. I've been saying, imagine this is the tune because it's a very melodic part, and don't think this is low. Think I'm a bass. I've got a bass voice. I can sing this, and don't overthink it. Know that the notes will speak and don't force it. There's this, especially with basses, there's an issue with your internal voice and what you hear and what other people hear is very different. And often basses have a tendency to kind of sing like, all is silent. In my head, that sounds super bassy. I know it sounds rubbish. But like in your kind of internal resonators, that can sound super bassy. But actually, the best way to sing it is with the least tension as possible. Know
Absolutely.
that you've got those notes and sing it. But also, if you haven't got those notes, that's okay. You can do a ninja breath there if you need to. If you're one of the few talented ladies still singing bass, which is incredible. There's no shame in having a little ninja breath when there's all those low Fs. Or if you're of a more baritone flavour, again, if you need to take a ninja breath on some of the Fs, feel free because they can wear you out. So don't overthink it too much, and don't think you've got to make them super bassy because we've got enough, proper bassy basses to get those notes. So don't feel like you have to make them speak too much if it's not natural for you.
And I think that's exact same point needs to go to the higher notes as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we've got enough basses that can sing that start, for example, nicely.
Yeah.
So that if that's not notes that you can sing happily, you don't want to sing that C and B and then that it's not the end, my friend. You don't want to sing those rubbish. If those are notes that are difficult for you to sing or that you're worried about, you haven't got to sing them. We have enough basses again that and especially some of the basses that maybe found the lower notes hard might be the ones that find those upper notes a lot nicer.
Absolutely. It's a team game, in other words. It's a team game, and there's no shame in having a ninja breath and preserving energy because we're all needed at some point in this song. Thank you very much, gang. All is silent on the empty streets. Then a message rings out so true. I'm looking for the others. I am not alone. I'm right here.
Can I just say actually quickly?
Yes,
A message rings out so true. That's our biggest jump from true to I am not alone. That's a compound major third. That's a big boy. So basically, just make sure you watch out for that interval because that's our biggest interval. That's over an octave. So really try and hear that F, that I am not alone in your head there. Because you have a tendency to either over or undershoot that, or at least I do, and other basses coming to my sessions do. I just wanted to point out that so from that A on so true to the F on I am not alone, that's our biggest interval. So be careful there.
Understood. And I think that's a great observation. So how are they, how do we suggest that people approach that as they're singing it, do you think, Fred?
When they're holding that note true, that long note on the A, really then you can start to, you've got a couple of seconds there to really sort of try to hit your next note. Don't think I've got to sing an F right on that note I. You can do, so true, where's my F coming? I am the, and you can work it out as you're still holding that note rather than sort of panicking.
I think it's a great observation.
And also just listen to it more and more and it gets more in your head.
True.
And that's the advice with every interval, right? It's just, if it's hard, keep listening to it.
Now, of course, in the same way, the glisses help there as well. Out so true, true. It's quite low, isn't it? Out so true. So that's where we are, and that is a huge amount of work. But listening to the track is your key, and getting your vocal cords used to it is great. And I like Fred's approach where you mentally prepare yourself, but that means not necessarily going all the way to the end, as he said. So that's very good. Then a message rings out so true. I am not alone. I'm right here with you. So here I stand and it's not the end. I see the light with you, my friend. I like that note a lot. That turns there. So if you sing that with energy and with intent, it gives you like little goose pimples. Really, just the way it is. Just some things to think about when you're singing it. I see the light with you, my friend. We've come so far, let's see it through. I'm not alone, that much is true. Here's another one of those. True one, true one. It's none of those octave jumps, man. True. Prepare. One day we'll stand side by side. Oh, how our hearts will fill with pride when all around was dark and blue. I found my star, you found one, two. We have to keep that extended. It's very tempting to just do that in the same rhythm as the previous one, but it's not. It's, you know, I found my star, you found one, two. Very important. And so we know. That is a mood changer in this song. It really is. That sets the color of the next phrase, the color of the last page, everything. So really buy into that, really, because it's lovely. You should feel that when you're singing that. And so we know that things must change. We know that life must rearrange. But all we've seen and all we've done. Here's another one. Done will change the world for years to come. Here's another one. For years to come, for years to come. So, as we get up to there, any other points or comments or things we should be bringing out?
There's a couple of slightly weird intervals there. So that but all we've seen. That's a slightly weird one because you think you might want to go down a fifth there from a D to a G. It's actually a fourth, and then right after that you want to go up an octave on that all we've done. But it's not. It's that seventh, which is a really awkward interval to sing, right? Because it's almost an octave, but it's not quite.
That's right.
So look out for that.
Agreed. We'll shape the world for years to come, for years to come. Gets me every time. Yes, Susan.
Oh, I would also add, if anyone's doing ninja breaths or leaving out low notes or high notes, it's still important, extremely important, to do what I call them corporate breaths, the red markings, so that we don't have minor sync errors. Everyone wants to be doing those breaths, even if you're doing a ninja breath a couple beats before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great point. Bear with me. Let's see it through. I'm not alone, that much is true. One day we'll stand side by side. Oh, how our hearts will fill with pride when... That's another one of those intervals. When all around was dark and blue, I found my star. You found one too. That's just magic. That is. It's magnificent writing. Can't tell you how much emotion that generates there. I found my star. You found one too. That's not right.
That was right, the same note.
It is the same note. That's right. Just bear with us. Bum, 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 bum.
You found 1, 2.
Go on then. Oops, carry on. We've got 10 minutes.
That's
We're
all
almost
right.
there. We're almost there. I'm just looking for the note on here.
That little semitone there is real crunchy. And all the other parts. Also going to highlight that note star on 64. All the other parts come in with their they'll go. You found 1 as we're holding that note star. So don't be tempted to let go of that too early. I often do that kind of. I found my star. I'm not meant to be singing now.
That's right.
It's you got 5. You got 5 whole. If you're English, you've got a semi-breve and a crotchet. If you're American, you've got I believe that's a whole note and a quarter note. You got a lot of time. Wow, I could do both. Who knew? So hold that note for the whole 5 beats. It's a big old boy. You got lots of time to just get ready for that little semitone, and you can get excited. And then as Mike said, from 66 to the end, it's just a kind of. It's pretty much all just moving up the whole time. You're starting on that G in 65, going to the A flat, to the B flat, to the C, to the G, and then obviously the big finish, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah, we certainly will.
How's your note coming on there, Mike?
Hey, there's no need to make a comment. You got it all covered, my friend. Just bear with me while I make an arrangement, an adjustment here.
Our hearts will fill with pride when all around was dark and blue. I found my star. You found 1, 2. It's not the end with you, my friend. Never the end. It's not the end.
It's just a fantastic climax. Before I play or say anything else, does anyone have anything else to add just there before we carry on? No? I just wondered. I just thought I'd ask. So, as we're approaching the end of the song, bear with me again.
Oh, how our hearts will fill with pride when all around was dark and blue. I found my star. You found 1, 2. It's not the end with you, my friend. Never the end. It's not the end.
Okay, we're just going to go back a little bit there. Bear with us.
When all around was dark and blue, I found my star. You found 1, 2. It's not the end with you, my friend. Never the end.
It's not the end. Can't do that. Can't do that from there. So, it's actually, it's not the end. Still can't do it. It's not the end. So, what are we going to do there? What do we recommend there? Glissing, bubbling.
So what? So that note G, that end in bar 69.
Yeah.
As you
That's
see,
on a
it
C.
has. Well, that's a G, right? I'm talking about 69.
No,
I'm
it's a
talking
C.
about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 69. So,
Oh, I'm
that
sorry,
end.
sorry.
Yeah, I was saying.
Yeah.
What I've been telling everyone to do there is don't worry about trying to get. That's 5 beats you've got there.
Yeah.
If you're sensible, you sing 4 beats. You have a crotchet or a quarter note breath, and then you get through. Most of the singers are finding that they can get through that last phrase if they remember to take a proper breath.
Yes.
So the best thing to do there is I go, and 2, 3, 4,
Oh,
breathe,
yeah.
big finish.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to snatch the breath in kind of, so imagine the red lines moved like half a centimeter to the left, actually on that note, and almost cutting off that last crotchet, or quarter note, and take a big breath there, and you can get through to the end.
I like that. I like that. Anyone else have any suggestions for how we approach that situation right at the end there?
You just want to make sure that you've got you're tanked up enough to sing those last 4 bars fully. So even you can take the breath on the red line and then take another breath on the.
Yes.
Just before the word end.
That is
but
correct.
Make sure that you're tanked up enough to sing those last 4 bars completely.
Yeah. And what about? Yeah. Sorry. Carry on, Fred, please.
I would say another thing that I've been in my sessions saying to do, which is something recommended by Simon, is you could do a ninja breath on that note end up the octave. So you can go, it's not the end.
Yes, you can.
I've got loads of breath. I can sit here for ages. This is a nice finish, right? And you can, if you come off.
What I was going to suggest.
Yeah, it's been. Yep. That's if you're finding that hard, if you're finding it hard to get through that lower octave C with full power, you can just edge off on that higher octave note as I just did, and then come back in nice and gently, and which allows you to get down to that lower octave one nicely. And I'm going to ask Mike, how should we sing our?
Is important because it builds the F before.
Exactly.
That E flat is really kind of important on the. So kind of taking a breath there for me wouldn't really be suitable, and I kind of do what you said earlier, Fred. Ease the breath back to the sort of first beat of bar 70, and then possibly take a ninja breath in the middle of 70. I probably have to beat 1 or 2 of 72, so that I've got the sort of tank left to do the drop into the remaining 2 bars.
The good thing is there are a number of valid options here.
And with enough people doing all of them, nothing will stick out.
Absolutely.
As long as we don't all do the same thing.
Yeah, that would be horrific, wouldn't it?
Yep.
So pick your favorite breath points.
So actually, there aren't any disallowed ones as such with how to handle that last, that from it's not the end. There is absolutely no problem with you deciding to drop the if you want to, because there are loads of people singing the. Right? It's just because you dropped this. So it's not suddenly no one's going to hear you. It's not. So it really isn't that concern. Okay? Just want to clarify that for people who feel they can do that because it gives them more to finish. Now, what about the slide? I
was about to ask you that, Mike. How should we? Can I demonstrate something to you? You tell me how you like it. Are you ready?
I'm ready, mate.
It's not the end. Right, how appropriate is that for this song?
Well, I think for that song, that demonstration that you just gave us is perfectly incorrect. So it was a wonderful demo, and we won't have any slide there at all. We'll go as much as we can. We'll go note to note. And Simon himself, there is some edge to it as he's going from one to the next. So if you sing that in the same way as you've been singing the rest of the song as a lead, with lightness at the high end and not just giving it, you just don't need to do all that. It's just not necessary. So you're doing that. You're even more important as a lead, but it is louder. It is loud
50 seconds.
Thank you. Now, we have gone through the whole thing. Thank you very much for going through this, everyone. And I really appreciate us being able to get together and doing this. Any final words before we switch off?
Enjoy the song. It's gorgeous.
Indeed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, great song.
A lot of emotion.
Excellent. So thanks very much, everyone. It's been awesome. See you again for the next one.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Adios.
Adios.
Bye.
Adios. Arrivederci.
Oh, quick photo.
Quick photo.
Yeah, quick photo. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Go. Hold it. Thank you. We're done.
Excellent stuff.
Take care. See ya.